Hello, this is Alkesh, and thank you for tuning in. For my next project, I took inspiration from this clip that I have watched many times on ILM's website, YouTube channel rather. It's from Transformers Dark of the Moon. It's a very nice collection of visual effect shots, and I'm going to use two ideas from this clip. The first one is just coming up in the beginning, where the driller, which is a transformer, is just rising up through this building, breaking everything, knocking all structures and creating debris and fire and smoke and all that, and then it's going to fall down violently. As it does, it creates this fireball, and again, all these little pieces of a building and the structure falling everywhere. So I thought this would be a cool thing to do in my next project. And the second part that I was inspired by was this shot here, where all these transformers are running on this highway, and this particular one is going to hit a car right there. This car is getting in the way, and this transformer doesn't care, and it's gonna just knock everything. You see the um, the trunk is open and the hood is open here, and there's gonna be all damage on the side of the vehicle. The way they did this is by actually using a truck which hits this car right here, and it's creating exactly what they wanted to have in the final shot. But then they removed this truck using some sort of a paint job, as you will see right here. You see this truck, they erased the truck and they replaced that with the transformer. And that's great. I mean, it's ILM, so obviously they have a lot of resources and good talent, to do something like this. But I thought that it would be cool to see if we can create something like that inside of all the software that I use, and comp everything in Fusion. So that was my inspiration, and for that I have a clip that I had videotaped. It's just me driving on one side of the road, stuck in the traffic, so driving very slowly, and I pulled out my GH2 and took a short video clip on the other side of the road, and you see all these cars going by. I wanted to use this to put some CG elements. So the first challenge that I would have is there are a lot of vehicles here, so I need to find space where I can put my CG elements. So after this truck goes by, there are three cars basically. Here is 1, 2, and 3. So if I can remove these three cars, then what I can get to is a longer stretch of empty road, starting here all the way to when the last truck shows up, which is not until the very end, right? So that was my first thought, that let's remove these vehicles, and I'm going to use Mocha Pro for that, and it's a very easy workflow for something like this. So that was one thing. The second thing, I would obviously need a good track in Synthesize that I always use, so that I can recreate this road and everything in 3D space of Maya and Fusion. And this time I'm also going to use Houdini, because I want to create a lot of the debris and a lot of dynamics, rigid body dynamics, using real physics. So I can have smoke and fire and all the concrete and everything falling down, and to really go all out with everything that I can bring out. So I'll use Houdini for that. So there also I can export 3D space from Synthesize into Houdini. So I'll go through the pipeline very shortly, but let me just first show you the previs that I have created, which I have in mind for the final project. Don't need this. Yeah. So here is the building that I would like to have on the side of the road, which has the roof that is broken by that driller that will come out. I haven't created the driller yet, but that's where it's going to come out. You see the pieces of the roof breaking. This is just a previs, so don't think of this as final shot. I just needed something to visualize. I created this in Maya using DMM module. Smoke I created in Houdini. Now the driller is going to rise and then fall, so when it falls, which is going to be after this truck, as it falls it's going to knock part of the side barrier that's out there for safety. So you will see it's braking right there, and it's creating all the force behind this wall, and the wall is just breaking into the pieces. At the same time, there is a CG car that will just skid and lose control. I've only used a very rough model here. It doesn't even have wheels. But in the final shot, I'm thinking about creating a very detailed model of BMW M3. So it comes out while this thing is braking, and all the debris are falling, and there will be smoke here, more realistic smoke. This is just a proxy. And the truck that we saw coming towards the end, for now I use that truck to knock this car off the road. I'm not sure if that's what I'm going to do in the final shot. I may either do that or create a vehicle myself in a 3D program, a model, and use that. But effectively this is what happens. The truck comes and it's making a contact with this 3D car. This is an FBX model, by the way, in Fusion. And it knocks it off, and you can see the motion blur that I was able to bring in for this rough shot, and it just gets pushed on the side of the road, and the truck passes by. So here's the full clip just one more time. There you go. So that was the idea. Now I'll show you my Fusion clip while we are at it. It's fairly messy clip here, or the script. I have used all sorts of masking and the alpha channel here and there, and corrections for color and all different things, motion blur every now and then. You have 3D models here. So for example, this one here has the 3D car that is coming down the road, and it's going to you can see that car right here as it's skidding and losing control, and then it's going to be knocked off the road. So that's a true 3D model that you can actually see from all different angles if you wanted to. So this script is quite messy. I'm not going to walk through this one, but I'm going to build one that will be more logical for the final shot. But I just thought I'd show you, what I'm working on right now. Yeah, so let's first quickly go through the pipeline, and then I'll show you Mocha, because I'll show you how to remove a truck, like this. And I'm pretty sure that if you are using Mocha, you already know about it. But I just thought it was a very quick and surgical demonstration. It doesn't really require a lot of effort. But before we go there, let me pull out my Photoshop here. So this is how I'm thinking. We already have the camera clip that we have created. That is going into Resolve. In Resolve, I'm going to make the 10-bit file, because I would like to have some color depth, and 8-bit wouldn't really work too well. So Resolve will be recoding the original clip into something that we can work with. I will probably use Avid DNX format, and also EXR. So that clip comes out of Resolve, and I can also do some color grading there if I wanted to. One will go in Mocha, and this is where we'll remove the objects that we want to remove off the road. The other clip will go into Synthesize. This is where we build the 3D tracking. Synthesize will have export into Fusion for 3D composition, Houdini for rigid body dynamics mainly, and Maya for some animation and some modeling. All of these Maya and Houdini mainly will again go back into Fusion for final composition. Mocha clip, which has all the removed objects and it's a clean plate, will also go into Fusion for the composition, and then everything will go back to Resolve for any final color correction grading that we would like to do. So it's going to be a pretty interesting, I think, set of videos to go through all these different pieces. Let me bring up my Mocha Pro first and show you very quickly. The idea for this video is not to go into depth, but just to start the thought process, and then in the next few weeks I'll put more videos of individual pieces, and hopefully we'll come to a very happy ending at the end. Alright, so I'm going to open the project that I already have, this one here. Nope, I don't need the intermediate version. Okay, so what we have here is this is only a part of the clip. It starts at frame number 100 and I don't know what it is, but yeah, 150 it looks like, 150, and then it goes up to 251. This is the tail end of that clip where there is a stretch of nothing happening on the road, and then this truck comes. So I want to remove this truck, because when this truck is, even if I use this truck for my final shot, when it hits the car, it has to go off balance. You know, it cannot just continue in straight line without having any jolt or any reaction to the impact. So that means that I'll have to move around this truck, and as I do that, I have to be able to see the background. So I need to separate truck from the background, and Mocha has a very good workflow. So what I have done here is tracked the truck with this mask, and this mask, as you can see, is not a very precise mask. It is just general area that is covering the entire truck, and anything that I want to remove, which also includes the shadow, because I cannot just leave shadow, it would look really bad. Okay, so you need to do that first. So you just track this, mask this and track, and then you also need a background. You need to tell software that what do you want to replace this removed object with, and for that I have also tracked this other rectangle here, which is just the background, and I'm telling Mocha that this is what I want to keep and this is what I want to remove from this particular set of frames. So the workflow is quite simple. You just do this, then you need the object that you want to remove at the top and the object that you want to maintain, which is the background at the bottom, and your this setting highlight should be always on the one that you want to remove. So while we are here, the next thing you want to do is go to the remove module here, and I will not go through this. There are good tutorials on Mocha's website also that will explain all the technical aspects of, you know, what is the best practice. But let's just say that we are here and I want to remove this truck, and quite simply you have this render button here which is going to render the current frame, but once you have set this up properly, you can actually go ahead and render the whole clip, and it will, you know, remove the truck in this case from every frame of the clip. But let me just click this button here and you will see what I mean. As soon as I hit this button, you will see this truck will be gone, but the background will be the same. Now, because I already have done this once, when I press this button, the truck is going to be disappeared from all the frames, not just this frame. But if you are doing it for the first time, it would be just this frame, just to test, you know, whether it's working or not, and then you can do the entire clip. So here we go. It's going through it, and there you go. The truck is removed, and you can see that the background is maintained quite nicely. So now if I go through all the pieces here, or all the frames here, you can see that the truck is really removed, because Mocha has really replaced that part of the frames and the clip with the background and removed the truck in the meantime. So it's a very powerful workflow, and can be very handy for something like this. Alright, so I'm going to stop here, and the next thing I will bring up will be resolve and synthesize to get that part done, probably in the next couple of days. But let me just show you some of the objects that I'm thinking about bringing up here. So I will need to model this barn. And for that I'm going to use a workflow that is very nicely outlined in Synthise. I have about 4 pictures of this building from different angle, and I'm going to use all of them to create a track which I'll use in Maya to do the model. So it would be very accurate model of this particular building. This is the driller that I have a reference picture of that I'm going to use. And lastly, I have this BMW blueprint that I'm going to use to create the actual car with all the details that I can bring. Because when the impact happens, I want the trunk to the trunk to open up, and the hood to open up, and the doors to really bang in and create all sorts of damage that you can really see in a real vehicle. So this will be a fun job to do, and obviously I'm not going to show everything, but otherwise, you know, it would be a super long video. But I'll give you enough highlights so you know exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so more to come, and thanks again.